What's going on, college football fans? Welcome in. Listen, been a long time since I did the snap count, man. It's your boy Coach out here on the Fan Sports Network, where we talk all things SEC. That's right, man. It's basketball season, so if you've been following the channel, uh, then you know we've been covering the women's SEC, more so South Carolina Gamecocks. That's what we do. But in covering them, you know what I'm saying, we talk about all the other teams. Also, me and Hog Wild, SEC Mo from Hog Wild Podcast. We had a few shows that we do on Sundays live talking about all SEC basketball. But man, you know it's that time of year, time to talk spring football. That's right, man. Time to talk spring football. And one of the biggest questions coming into this year for a lot of the SEC teams is who's playing quarterback. That's right, man. But before we get into it, man, listen, when you go into a game or event that's on SeatGeek, man, use promo code Fanatic Sports. Get you $20 off your first purchase, man. Might as well. If you're going to buy tickets anyway, go ahead and get those tickets off of SeatGeek. Use Fanatic Sports promo code and get $20 off. That's right, man. So, Stephen G, what's going on, my guy? Hey man, everything good, man. Listen, just been covering a little basketball. That's all, man. I don't know if you've been checking out the ladies basketball content we've been putting out, man. We've been trying to put out some previews on the Gamecocks, and then we're actually going live next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk SEC women's basketball tourney. This Sunday, though, Sunday night after tournament selection Sunday, or I ain't gonna say selection Sunday, it's the last Sunday, or it'll be the end of the boys. I think end of the boys, but we'll be talking boys basketball on Sunday night. Me and Hog Wow. So guess what game won't be on SeatGeek SEC Spring Games? That's true, man. We got listen. We can start out. Listen, it's a guys. Listen, yeah, Texas. I think if I'm not mistaken, they canceled their spring game. Nebraska. I can tell you one team that won't be canceling the spring game. That's my Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart is a football guy's football guy. You're not canceling that. Josh Brooks, our AD, already confirmed it. So I haven't heard of anybody else. Stephen G, you heard of anybody else canceling spring games, man? I don't know what's going on. People try not to don't want nobody to poach their players, but at the end of the day, dog, they're gonna find your players anyway. You know what I'm saying? It don't even matter. So that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because the SEC, I mean, the spring games is just this. They scrimmage most like at Georgia. They scrimmage every Saturday at the end of the week. They practice for 3 weeks or so. They have after the first week of practice, they scrimmage on Saturday in the stadium. After the second week of practice, they scrimmage in the stadium. The third week, they practice, they scrimmage in the stadium and bring cameras in and call it the spring game. So it's like Kentucky, USC, Ohio State. Hey man, I don't know what you want to say. Nebraska. So right now the tally is up to 5 well-known schools that we know about. I mean, it might be some smaller schools that cancel we don't know about. And I know last year I think Ole Miss did some kind of like dunk contest 7-on-7 something or something. I don't know. Man, in Georgia, we springing it up, baby. Like, you want to watch the spring game, man? Get Georgia out on April the 12th. Hey, try to poach the players. If a player want to leave, you're gonna leave. You man, you can hide them from the world or try to. But my thing is this, and this is the last thing I'll say on this. When coaches do their due diligence, if they really in the portal like that, they're not just even without a spring game, they're not just researching your starters. They're researching everybody on your roster. They're trying to see, okay, this guy right here was a red shirt freshman. He didn't play last year, but he was a 4-star. He was a 5-star. So just because I don't get to see him in the spring, don't mean I'm not gonna, try to get him. But what I've heard, and I don't know if it's official yet, and it could be somebody let me know out there in the comments. But this is supposed to be the last year for the spring portal anyway. So I guess you cancel it this year and then you bring it back next year. Okay, yeah. Uh, Stat guy in the building. He say SoCal cancel their spring game. The real USC be ready to go in front of the fans. Shots fired. All right, man. But y'all didn't come here and talk for me to rant on about whether or not I think spring game should go on, which I do. We want to talk SEC quarterbacks, man. Listen, SEC quarterbacks, it's a lot, including the dogs, who got battles on the hand. If you didn't catch the Respect the Hedges show for the Fantasy Sports Network, Respect the Hedges talking all things Georgia on Tuesdays live at 8 o'clock. We talked a little bit about our quarterback battle. I think the Dog Nation, I ain't gonna say they split. I know there's a faction of the Dog Nation that say the job is Gunner Stockton's. Then there's a faction of the Dog Nation that says they want it to be a battle, and there's a faction that says not so fast, Gunner Stockton fans. Ryan Puglisi might have something to say about that. Not to mention that we brought in Hezekiah Melinder from Clark Central, Ryan Montgomery, but Ryan Montgomery's towards ACL senior year, so he wouldn't be factored into this competition anyway. But I think it's solely between Gunner Stockton and Ryan Puglisi. And I think what that boils down to is, what do you want at quarterback? We traditionally have run a pro style system, especially under Mike Bobo. So we're going to run a pro style system. My thoughts are Gunner may be able to win games, but will he be able to win natties? In a pro style system, I personally don't think so. But I also didn't think in 2020, after seeing him in 2020, that Stetson was good either. Todd Monken changed my mind with Stetson, changing my mind as well. So maybe that turns out to be the case as well. But I think if we're going to run a pro style, then Ryan Puglisi is hopefully, if he's catching on to the offense and he does what he needs to do at practice, of course, I think he has the talent and the passing acumen to accomplish that. But if we're going to go with Gunner Stockton, I want to see more of RPOs, read options, things of that nature, because I don't think his passing, his arm talent is as vast as Ryan Puglisi. But that's what I think about the Georgia situation. Now, we got Stephen G in here, and I didn't have this one up at the top, but we can go ahead and talk about it since we're here. Oklahoma has a returning starter quarterback, but they also have one of the hottest quarterbacks in the transfer portal, transfer in, and also have his former OC as the new OC at Oklahoma, coming from Washington State, John Mateer. If you haven't heard the name, I think he threw for, he definitely threw for over 4,000 yards last year in the, well, he wasn't really in the conference, but at Washington State. So, and I want to know, Stephen G, what's your feelings? What's your feelings on the quarterback situation? Is it a situation like a battle? Is it, you think because they brought the OC in, it's going to be Mateer's job to lose, or do you think Michael Hawkins has some say so, especially since he's returning now? A lot of the pieces that were with him last year, are not there, including his OC. So what do you go? Mateer is the guy. Okay, Mateer is the guy. Now I did watch some Mateer film. I definitely like Mateer. Personally, like Mateer better. Better than Hawkins. Hawkins is an extremely great athlete. I think he can throw the ball, but I don't think he can throw the ball like Mateer can throw the ball. Again, Mateer didn't play as hard of competition last year as Hawkins did, and Mateer probably had some more weapons on the outside than he did. But you got the OC coming in. He already knows what the OC is going to do. Michael Hawkins has to learn that because it's not the same offense. So I'm kind of with you, Stevie G. I think so too. Says, hey, also the QB coach. The QB coach came as well. So you got the OC, the QB coach, and Mateer. I think the writing's on the wall, and I think Stat Guy said that as well. Pharaoh, what's going on, my guy? Said, can you do a preview of Ole Miss versus South Carolina women's basketball? Oh, we might have to talk about that. They play tomorrow night. Ole Miss ain't that good. Like, let's take a pause, man. This is one of my guys, man. He followed the channel, man. Support the channel when we talking about the game, Lady Gamecocks, man. Listen, I don't think that's gonna be much of a game, Pharaoh. I'll be honest with you. That's kind of why we decided not to preview, because I think they're just gonna run through Ole Miss. But what I'll do is, let's do this, Pharaoh. If you're gonna be up, man, let's do a watch party tomorrow during the game. I'll go live during the game and we'll watch it during the game, man. How about that, Pharaoh? Stat Guy. Stat guy, you had some thoughts on material when we was talking last night. You still in the chat there, dog? So Stephen G, back to Mateer. What does Hawkins do? Does he just settle to be the backup, or do you think he's hitting the portal in the spring portal? Or is he just going to say, hey, I'm going to battle it out to the spring, to the fall camp, through fall camp. And then if I don't, win, I'll transfer next year. So what are we thinking there? Now, Mateer 6'1", 219, redshirt junior. Last year completed 64% of his passes. I said he threw for 4,000. I was mistaken. He threw for 3,139 yards, 29 TDs, 7 INTs. He played against a Mountain West schedule, but the arm is live. The arm, he can make all the throws. He has touch. Seems like he can read defense, but we'll see. Michael Hawkins, on the other hand, he's 6'1" as well, not as heavy, definitely lighter on his feet. Now, Mateer can run too from the video. He definitely ain't scared to run that thing. But last year he started as the backup, but then Jackson Arnold wasn't getting the job done. He ended up taking over the starting job, and when he took over, he threw for 783 yards again. But he didn't have a whole season to start. He was 63% as well. So accuracy-wise, they're both about the same. Now, he only threw for 3 TDs. That can't be right, Stat. He only threw for 3 TDs. Stat guy, you gave me these stats. Michael Hawkins, Stephen G. Michael Hawkins only threw for 3 TDs last year? Couldn't be. He threw for more TDs than that. That guy, you got me out here talking about these stats. That cannot be. Hawk will probably red shirt. He's still going on to year 2. Yeah, right. He was a freshman last year. That cannot be right that he only threw 3 TDs. Come on now. Hold on. Michael Hawkins, you got me out here Googling during the show. Hawkins Jr. stats. He had to throw for more than 3 TDs, dog. I knew he ran for a lot. Wow, Stephen G confirming he only got 3 passing TDs. Jesus. Yes, it is Mateer's job. Yes, it is. Yeah. Hey, you're right, Stat. That's my B, man. Listen, man, I just got back from watching a Furman basketball game live where they was playing the Citadel. My brain's a little, it was like a 60-point blowout or something, so my bad. Yes, Mateer is definitely going to be the guy. So Stat Guy says Mateer wins you games this year, which could possibly save BB's job. Long term, I don't think that will be what's best for the team. If it wasn't for the hot seat, you play Hawkins, let him take his hit. That's interesting. Stephen G said we probably redshirt Hawkins, which is in the worst case scenario. Redshirt junior, meaning this year, technically he would have 2 years if he wanted to stay. But if he plays like he played last year, then I can see that road, Stephen G. Because if Mateer plays like he played last year, then he has a good year, and then he moves on to the draft, meaning Hawkins comes in next year still having 3 years eligibility. My problem with that, though, Stephen G, is you got to have a backup. And if you, let's say it's 4 games this year, listen, I guess if you blow some teams out, he's going to get in the game. So I don't know if you guys have another one on staff. I just know the battles between those 2 guys. So Mateer redshirt junior. So at most 2 years. I think if he goes pro, then let's just say Michael Hawkins does redshirt. If he goes pro, then Michael Hawkins stays. But if he stays for a second, his final year, Mateer that is, then I think Hawkins will hit the portal. There's only one portal window, like I said, apparently next year. Cole Gonzalez, I got you. Look up his stats real quick. Let's look up Cole Gonzalez. And there's a Cole Gonzalez. There we go. OU. Cole Gonzalez from Western Carolina. He got 1 year eligibility remaining. Cole said it might not be a done deal. He might have something to say. He's got over 6,600 career passing yards to his name. Coming from Western Carolina. Okay. He's the second Western Carolina player to commit to the Sooners. They also got an offensive lineman from Western Carolina. Gonzalez totaled 66, 82 yards, 51 touchdowns in 3 seasons. Not bad. He started 2 full seasons. Okay. This past season, he threw for 62%. He's right in line with Michael Hawkins and John Mateer. and he threw for 2,543 yards with 12-7 TD interception ratio. Okay. He's the son of Florida wide receivers coach Billy Gonzalez, 6 feet tall, 195. Hey, he's got one. Listen, like I think you might be on to something there, Stephen G. Maybe he's the backup. So let's talk about these Bama QBs. On to the Bama QBs. Bama has an interesting situation. They had Keelan Russell, the 5-star. I think he ended up being the number one quarterback in the class. Number two quarterback, depending on which recruiting service you watch or you follow. So 6'3", 175, was originally committed to SMU, if I'm not mistaken, and then he flipped to Alabama. A lot of hype around this kid. Played big time football in Texas. I forgot what the name of the high school, but it's like one of the highest classifications. Um, and he's a dual threat. Got a really live arm. 70%, in his senior year in high school. Can throw all levels. And the dude looked good on film. That's what I can say. But he has to climb a mountain between Ty Simpson, who's been there, seemed like forever. He's a junior. He's a redshirt junior. 6'2", 215. He was, a top rated player coming out of high school as well. Last year, he didn't get a lot of chances to throw the ball. A little bit better than 50%, 56% throwing the ball. In 2023, he was about the same, but he's got the most experience in the room. Austin Mack transferred in from Washington, and he was a DeBoer recruit. So in 2023, Kalen DeBoer did recruit him to Washington. So obviously, Kalen DeBoer liked something about Austin Mack. He's 6'6", 236. Now, he only started 1 year in high school, completing over 70% of his passes. So he doesn't have the experience that Ty Simpson has. And it doesn't seem like he has the high school experience that Keelan Russell has. So, what are we thinking here? I'm thinking Ty Simpson gets the nod going into spring, but I think ultimately Keelan Russell may win this job here. Okay, so Keelan Russell was number 2 quarterback behind Bryce Underwood, who committed to and signed at Michigan. Duncanville, that's where it was. Appreciate that stat, guys. 6A powerhouse in Texas. Keelan Russell played and started for them. I think going into the spring, Ty Simpson, gets reps at ones the most of the time, like maybe even in the spring game. But I think by the time fall camp is over and they come out in the first game, I think Keelan Russell's going to take that. I like that guy, Keelan Russell. So I think Russell is going to starting when the games matter. So I don't know Alabama's schedule. You think Ty Simpson starts the season, stat guy? Let's see, Bama football schedule. Depending on the schedule, dog, he may or may not. Let me see. Like at Georgia, for instance, we start with 2 cupcakes and then play Tennessee the third game. So we have to get it figured out by the time week 3 is rolling around because we got to go to Neyland. Bama, on the other hand, starts out with Florida State, the very first game. So, stat to what you're saying, you think Russell starts when the games matter. Well, the first game matters. I'm not saying that I think Alabama is definitely way more talented than Florida State, but it's still Florida State, and you play at Doak Campbell Stadium. So, are you thinking Russell starts first game? Stephen G says, and none of them know Grubb, the new OC, so who knows? Well, Grubb was the original. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was Kalen DeBoer's OC at Washington. I thought he was the OC, and he was. I don't know why I thought that's what it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't matter what you do in non-conference anymore. Kind of. I'm gonna say it don't matter, but kind of. It kind of matters. Ty wins the job, but come October, it's Russell's team. So this will give you the first 4 games, by the way. Florida State, ULM Warhawks, Wisconsin Badgers. They have a week off and then they come to Athens. So you think they're gonna go through all that and then Ty not gonna look good and then Keelan's gonna start the very next game against Vandy? Is that what you're thinking? Steve just says Ty will win it in non-con, but SEC Russell. You guys are on the same page. I can see that. I just think Russell, I don't know, man. If Ty, my thing is Ty's had a couple of chances to win this job. You know what I'm saying? New staff came in last year. Jalen Milroe was the incumbent. He probably takes over during the UGA game. Well, I like that stat because if he's having to change quarterbacks during the game, that means UGA is doing something right. So we got to figure out a way to beat them. Okay, okay, I can see that. I can see that. All right, man. So Alabama has some quarterback things to figure out. Got talent and inexperience at all three levels, to be honest with you, regardless if Austin Mack, even if Austin Mack did get recruited by Grubb, if that was the guy that was the OC for the board. Again, we none of them have played for the OC in college. So like Stephen G said, they don't really have experience with this offense. So it doesn't really it doesn't really matter. Not even Ty Simpson. So now on to Auburn, their hated rival. This is interesting because they got a former OU quarterback, Jackson Arnold, former Stanford quarterback, Ashton Daniels, and a former South Carolina transfer in Tanner Bailey, and also the number 6 quarterback in last year's recruiting class, Deuce Knight, who wanted to wear number 2. And somebody asked Cam Newton on this podcast if he would agree. I don't know if he gets a save, but they asked him if he was down with Deuce Knight wearing number 2, and he was like, emphatically no. He said he ain't proven that in college. He really likes Deuce Knight, but he need to prove something in college before he wear number 2. But I don't know if he actually even has anything to say so about it. So let's see. But we're used to young guys taking over the SEC. Right. You were right. So for the SEC, so many teams, new quarterbacks. That is correct. It's been a lot of that. Nico Iamaleava, Jackson Arnold, when he took over, Sellers took over his second year, So I mean, I don't it's nothing new. So I think in these situations, to be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you right now, in Auburn, with these 4 guys, I couldn't tell you who got the upper hand. I really don't, because I don't know what Auburn is offensively. They haven't had an identity for the 2 years that Hugh Freeze has been there. So I don't know. I don't know what their identity is. What are they? Are they RPO? Are they are they West Coast? Are they spread? Are they running? I don't know what they are. Pro style. So I think Jackson Arnold has some talent. I think it needs to be honed in. I think he needs a quarterback coach. I don't know if Auburn has that. I know Hugh Freeze is a great offensive mind, or better than the guy. The what's the guy that y'all had? Jeff Levy, not Jeff Levy, but the other guy that just was his quarterback. I meant the OC. I forget who y'all replaced Jeff Levy with. Uh, Ashton Daniels definitely can spin the ball. He's a red shirt senior, so this is his last year of eligibility. He's played out in the Pac-10 or Pac-12. It's for Stanford. Last year threw for 1,700 yards, 10 TDs, and 12 interceptions. Now he played better the year before last in 2023 when he had Ben Urasets, the tight end that transferred to Georgia. That was like his primary weapon. Ended up leaving. He rushed for another 670 yards almost and 3 TDs. So he's a Georgia native. So he's coming back to the home front. So his dad was a damn good dog in Athens when I was there. So he played wide receiver. So he's closer to home. Auburn's not too far from the state of Georgia, right across the line. So Tanner Bailey, stat guy, you said Tanner Bailey has got the best arm, but won't win the job. I don't know what Arnold mental status is. I want to say Arnold wins the job, but I promise this Deuce Knight starts in the Iron Bowl. I like Tanner Bailey. You know that I do. I don't know if he got the best arm. I think it's between. If I had to say best arm, it had to be between. I like Jackson Arnold's arm. Now what he do? Seth Luttrell, that's the guy. The Vols hired him yesterday as the OC or just as an analyst. Because Seth Luttrell couldn't lead horses to water on offense though. I'm sorry. I was like, hey, listen, man. I know OU was banged up last year, but that dude right there, man. I'm not. Listen, I'm not. He doesn't put he doesn't put fear in me. So, oh, appreciate that, hypo. But let's get back to Tanner Bailey. I think Tanner Bailey. You know, I like Tanner Bailey's arm. I think that dude can absolutely spin it. But Jackson is more mobile than Tanner by far. Now it'll boil down to I think who has the best pocket presence and who can read defenses better. You know what I'm saying? Ashton will have something to say about that too because Ashton can spin it as well. He hasn't had a lot of talent around him. Hugh Freeze has recruited well. He's got to put it all together though. They can't seem to finish games. They gave us a tough time. Ole Miss did. I mean, Auburn did. So Deuce Knight, the 6'4", 210 freshman. Again, he was the 56th best overall player in the nation, dual threat lefty with good running ability, can rip the ball, but his accuracy is a huge concern for development. See, that's where I think Tanner Bailey leads the pack, the accuracy. Now, again, this is from what I watched in a spring game. So Tanner Bailey doesn't have any. Tanner Bailey of the three transfers is the only one that doesn't have game experience. Ashton James has started for 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, and Jackson Arnold started half a season and the bowl game. So and got in some. I think his if I'm not mistaken, red shirt freshman year, just in when Oklahoma was up a lot. So just give me Jackson Arnold starting for Auburn first SEC game. Got it. You're right. You're right. Seth Luttrell, if he got the reins to the O, let's do it. I need a storyline, Jay and Auburn coming into Norman. That would be a storyline. And if both teams are doing pretty good, depending on who else is playing that week, that could push you over the edge for game day. You never know. You never know. So, but that's Auburn's situation, man. I think Hugh Freeze will get it sorted out. It'll be interesting to see who's taking most of the reps in the spring game if they have their spring game. Right as of right now, they're still slated to have that spring game. So now, Kentucky. Kentucky had Brock Vandegrift, Georgia transfer last year. Brock Vandegrift has since the season ended, retired from football or hung up the cleats. Just I don't think I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's a health thing. They never said why, but I don't think it's a health thing. I just think he don't love it anymore. I think that's what it is. He sat his turn, waited in Athens, didn't get that shot to start. Went to Kentucky, started, and it didn't go as good as it could have. But they now have journeyman Zach Calzada. Zach Calzada, if I'm not mistaken, has been at Texas A&M and LSU. I think he started at LSU and then he got, or I think he went from he went to Incarnate Word at some point, and then he went back to Texas A&M, or went to Texas A&M. Maybe it was LSU Incarnate Word, Texas A&M, or maybe it was Texas A&M Incarnate Word, Texas A&M. But he definitely went from Incarnate Word to Texas A&M. Transferring from Texas A&M. So that's what it was. He went from that comes out. He's been a lot of places. This is my problem, not with the NIL transfer portal era. It's not the money, and you want to stop poaching, then stop the unlimited transfers. You can't transfer all the time. If you only get one-time free transfer, let's say no matter what year it is, if you never transfer, you get a one-time free transfer. The only other time you can transfer is if your coach ups and leaves to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what is his name? Brian Kelly did to Notre Dame. He didn't get fired. He just up and left. Like, that kind of thing. Other than that, that'll stop the poaching because there ain't no need to poach him because these days ain't nobody gonna want to sit that year. They're not gonna want to transfer and sit a year like they used to have to do. Let's see. Future, what's going on, my guy? You ready for the Arch Manning era? Huh? We already know, even though he wasn't the star last year, it don't matter who they brought in. Arch is the guy. So are you ready for the Arch Manning era? Let's see. Zach Calzada was at Auburn too? Is that what you're saying? Oh, you did. You said Auburn, Texas A&M, then Incarnate Word. Journeyman, dog. Hope maybe it works out for him. And Stephen G said he gets the nod. He's got to battle Bowley Cutter who was a redshirt freshman last season, limited duty. He redshirted. He hit about 50% of his passes through 2 TDs, 4 interceptions. Coming out of high school, though, he was the fourth best player in Kentucky for what that's worth. 6'5", 214. He's got a little size difference on Zach Calzada, but Zach Calzada is going to win that job. He's got the most experience. I don't see this being a real battle. They may say it's a battle, but I think it's Zach Calzada's job to lose. One of the problems in Lexington, though, I feel like what's my coach? What's the coach name? I feel like he's losing interest in just. I just don't feel like he's feeling it in Lexington no more. I don't. God, hold on. Stat help. It's going. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Stoops brother, Mark Stoops. Man, I don't think Mark Stoops is feeling it anymore. He don't seem enthused about it like he used to. I don't know, and that could be because he don't want to be in Kentucky no more. I don't know. That could be because he don't feel like Kentucky's showing him enough love. I don't know. Whatever it is, he could be tired of the NIL issues. I don't know. I just know he don't look into it no more. So I don't think it really matters who plays quarterback. I don't see them having a very good year. The reason it could be a battle is because they are run heavy, but in Zach Calzada mobile though? I thought he could run a little bit. So we'll see. Mizzou is replacing their quarterback. They got Drew Pine, who was there last year. God, Drew Pine is only 5'11". Wow. Okay. Sam Horn, redshirt junior, 6'4", 221, and Bo Pribula, who was a Penn State transfer looking to win that start job. I will put Drew Pine. I got to see him a little bit last year when old boy wasn't in the game. He ain't it. I think Bo Prabula. I hope I'm not Bo. If you're watching, if you somebody that you know catch this. If I said it wrong, man, just sorry. But Bo from the Penn State transfer, I think he wins the job over Sam Horn and Drew Pine. I don't think that's going to be really a big competition. I seen Drew Pine; he didn't look. It don't listen. I feel like they're gonna tailor it around him, dog. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Drew Pine ain't great that great of a passer either. Sam Horn may have something to say about that. I haven't seen Sam Horn like that. He's a redshirt junior again. Been a long time since high school, so maybe he's developed along the way. But what I saw from Drew Pine last year is like it's not good. He said he a warrior. All right, here we go with the intangibles. Give me some tangible reasons why he gonna be the quarterback. Why you think he's a warrior? Okay, that's cool. It's cool if you can play through the pain and but you still got to be able to throw that ball. At some point, you got to make a pass. So that's how I see that. Now, Ole Miss is replacing their guy Jackson Dart. And Georgia got a little glimpse of the backup quarterback when we went to Oxford. He only was in one drive, but he led the team right down the field and scored like it was nothing for our defense, like it was Swiss cheese. You got Austin Simmons, Pierce Clarkson, and AJ Maddox. So AJ Maddox, a redshirt freshman. He was 26th best quarterback in his class in 2024. He's a Mississippi native. He's a pocket passer, so they would have to run a slightly different offense. But I think Lane has no problems with that. But Austin Simmons, man, I like that guy. You're right. So we can beat Mizzou. Oh, I think a lot of people are gonna beat Mizzou next year. I just keep it real with you. They ain't got Luther Burton and they quarterback shaky. Yeah. They ain't got Theo Weiss and they quarterback shaky. Now I think they'll put a good defense out there, but you got to be able to move the ball. So, Austin Simmons, 6'4", 215, redshirt sophomore, former baseball player, should get the nod in the spring. Like I say, he was able to move the ball. He can run the ball. The ball just literally, like lively, just came off of his arm. I only got to see him against the Dogs, and it wasn't like it was in cleanup time. They blew us out. They beat us by like 16 or so, maybe 17. It might have been worse than that. When you lose games, you have selective memory. But they definitely beat us bad. Whatever it was double digits, and they beat us bad. But he got in the first quarter, if not the second quarter. It was when the game was really, good, or at least we thought it was going to be. And he didn't have a problem leading them down the field. So he threw for 282 yards and 2 TDs last season. Oh, his stat got me in the drive against UGA. He led Ole Miss down to a touchdown, and like I said, it wasn't like I don't even think they had a third down on that drive. So he definitely impressed me. Now Pierce Clarkson, 6'1", 195, redshirt sophomore. He's a transfer from Louisville. He'll be trying to get some of this battle in the spring. He hasn't had a lot of experience in college. Only threw 4 passes, looks like, for 75 yards. But coming out, he was the 25th best quarterback in the nation. Wasn't so, and then you got AJ Maddox, the redshirt freshman. I think it's Austin Simmons, like Stephen G is saying. I think it's Simmons to lose. Stat guy says he thinks Simmons runs away with this. Honestly, out of all the teams you've done, this is probably least likely a quarterback. I think this one and I'm gonna be honest, like this one and Kentucky. I don't know Boley Cutler like that, but I don't see him beating Zach Calzada. All the QB battles, I think so. Tennessee does not have a QB battle. They're returning Nico Iamaleava. OU's not a battle. Stephen G said it right here. It's not a battle, John Mateer. And from all the signs that we talked about earlier, I think I'm with you, Stephen G. I'm not saying that Michael Hawkins should just give up. I'm just saying that all signs are pointing to John Mateer. And again, you got your QB coach and your OC coming over here after throwing for over 3,000 yards. Yeah, I think the job's yours. There's no battle in South Carolina. Lenora Sellers is the guy. There's no battle in Vandy. Diego Pavia won his appeal against the NCAA and got another year. He is the guy. DJ Lagway is the guy in Florida. Who else we got? LSU. Nussmeier is the guy. We saw it. We know it. He'll probably be back up on the preseason, draft boards list. He has all the physical tools that you want in the quarterback. Arch Manning in Texas. He's the guy. We know that for sure. Texas A&M. We didn't talk about what's that guy's name. He's the guy. We didn't talk about Texas A&M, but they don't have a battle on their hand either. I can't remember the starter's name. He's the dual threat guy. Took over slightly after the Florida game. Michael Reed. Marcel Reed. Hey, Marcel Reed. There we go. I like that kid. Let's see what they put around him. He's definitely got a better coach, than he had than Texas A&M had 2 years ago. They had a really good year the first year under the new regime, and we'll see what he gets because they lost their best receiver, or at least one of them, Noah Thomas, 6'6" wide receiver. He's in Athens now. That also matters. Whoever the quarterback is, what you have around you. If you don't have anything around you, like for instance, let's take OU. I think John Mateer, for me, he's clearly better. I think not just that he has his OC and his quarterback coach coming over. As far as playing the quarterback position, I think he's better than Michael Hawkins Jr. That's not to say that Michael Hawkins Jr. can't develop into that, but I think as a passer, he's definitely better. Michael Hawkins is the better athlete, but Mateer is the better passer. But what is the offensive line going to look like? Because if they can't, and it's the same question in Athens. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of who I want to start at quarterback, what's the offensive line going to look like? If the offensive line can't, block or create a run game, then all of these quarterbacks going to struggle. It don't matter. So that's right. It's his third year in the system, right? Same system. So, but he still needs that offensive line. You know what I'm saying? And you got to have that offensive line. Like I said, I want Ryan Puglisi to win the game and win the job in Athens, but we got to, like, our offensive line was not good last year either. So we got to have a better, both OU and in Athens, and not for nothing in South Carolina. All three teams need to have better offensive line play. And the guys around you, not for Lenora Sellers, the question is in SC is, how is he going to be without Rocket Sanders? Rocket Sanders last year in Arkansas wasn't what people thought it was going to be, but then he had a rejuvenated career for a season in Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm not saying that he carried the team, but Lenore Sellers was definitely a heavy part of that. But a lot of Lenore Sellers, success was coincided with Rocket Sanders' success. So what is that going to look like? OU had an injury bug at wide receiver all last year. It's like couldn't keep nobody healthy. What are they going to look like at wide receiver for John Mateer? Like these questions. Georgia led the nation in drop passes at wide receiver. We infused the room two ways, kind of almost subtraction of addition by subtraction, and then we also went in the portal and got Zachariah Branch from Southern Cal, got Noah Thomas from Texas A&M, got a couple, got a 5-star, and should be getting Kobe Young back as well. So again, that's gonna help everybody. We need one of our 5 4-star receivers to break out as a freshman. That would help, along with returning sophomore, played as a true freshman, Maziel Bennett. And what's the other wide receiver that I like? Stat guy. He's a little bit more shifty than the other guys. I say he probably would lead you guys in receptions. All of the SEC needs better O-line play. We need the Natty to come back to the SEC. We definitely gonna have to get some O-line play for that, Stephen G. Because right now, if I had to say who had the best offense, got probably going into the season. Now we don't know how it's going to play out. Who's got the best offensive line going into the season? Tennessee. I don't know. No, because they lost Cooper Mays. They lost like 3 of their starters too. Ooh, I don't know. Jalen Brown, right? And track star Nick Harbor definitely made a jump last year. Again, he doesn't get that spring like everybody else because he's running track. That's the only problem. But I'm with you. I think one of those younger guys is going to need to step up and be that guy. But I do like Jalen Brown. But yeah, back to the O-line. Like, who's going to have the best O-line? That's going to be a key to a lot of these quarterbacks. Oh, Texas. Texas is probably going to have the best to start the year. Again, I don't know who's going to end up having the best O-line, but to start the year, I think Texas will have the SEC's quote unquote best offensive line. I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking about it. Bama is probably going to have a decent offensive line. Again, I don't know what Georgia is until we return 2 starters and a whole bunch of people that's seen snaps, but I don't know what they're going to be in starting roles. So Texas lost 4 starters on the O-line. Well, I'll say this. I don't know if O-line's been like, yeah, they had a good O-line last year, and if they lost 4 starters, that could be. They've recruited well. We've recruited well. That's going to be guys, Stephen G. That is a good point about all of the SEC needing the O-line to play to be better. Right. Vandy's play wasn't good last year. Florida was average at best. Tennessee's was good. No, guys, they didn't hold up for Nico. Like I don't, they wasn't bad, but nobody had like standout offensive line play outside of Texas. And then they just lost 4 offensive linemen. LSU has questions on the O-line. What will Nuss do under pressure? Woo! Hey, look at my boy B Sharp dropping in here. He can tell me about Alabama O-line and how they gonna block for the future quarterback. What's going on, B Sharp from the podcast? What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Sorry.
Listen, man. No problem, man. Hey, man, we just here talking some QBs, you know what I'm saying? And we'll go back to we had some thoughts on the Alabama QB situation, B Sharp. But before we get into it, tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, man. Of course, y'all can find me at the Sharpshooters Podcast. It should. I wish I had on my shirt. If the logo looks like this, that is me.
Right. Hey, man, we got royalty in here, man. B Sharp had the media pass to the Reese's Senior Bowl, man. I was a little jelly, but I was proud of you too, though.
Hey, man, it's an experience that I think everybody should be out there, man, because
that was dope, man.
It's a lot going on. I can promise you. I was overwhelmed the first day. I was like,
right,
damn, is it everybody everywhere, man? Like,
But you
damn.
know what? I like what you said in one of the posts you put on Twitter. You was trying to talk to the players. Everybody else like trying to talk to like coaches, and you was trying to get the inside with the players.
Oh, well, I wasn't. No. Like,
What'd
no,
you say? It was a
no. I
post you
said
put on
both
Twitter.
both people were trying to talk to the players. I was trying to talk to the personnel.
The personnel, right.
Yeah,
Hey,
like I'm trying to rub elbows with some other people,
mm,
so I can bring my guys on, such as yourself.
right. Right, we appreciate that. Stephen G said, talking about the recent Senior Bowl, OU just hired the executive director that will be the GM for OU. Jim Nagy?
Yep, Jim
Hmm.
Nagy. And I
Hey,
got
how about? Hey, that's a recruiting pitch right there because Jim Nagy, he got the connects with the Senior Bowl. You know what I'm saying? You can say, hey, man, come play for the guy who got the connections to the Senior Bowl, even if he's not a major part of it anymore. So that's dope. So, Alabama quarterback situation. This is what I said. You got Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, Keelan Russell. I think going into the spring, I don't know, what happens in the spring, but going into the spring, Ty Simpson will take most of the one reps. But I think by the time fall camp is over, Keelan Russell gonna be the starter.
I don't think so. I know a lot of people want to rush him up there.
Right,
It almost feels like when Matt Jones been the starter for so long, and then
right.
Bryce Young coming in. Like everybody wanted him to be the starter, and I was just like, I don't want him to start. Like let him learn. You don't have to rush him. He's right there. I
Right,
know we're in a different time now where everybody just want to play so fast.
right.
You just gotta let them boys sit down and wait their turn. And if he earns the spot, then you go out there and play him. But
Yeah.
I believe Ty is gonna take over that spot. I think this is like his first real opportunity to take the starting role, and I think he's gonna go full throttle on it.
Right. So Stat Guy and a couple of guys in the comments said they think Ty Simpson starts the season, but midway through the season, Keelan may take over.
It all depends, and I
On
still don't.
how the season going.
It all depends on how the season going, how he's playing,
Well, I
and
can tell
all.
you this: the season don't start out easy for y'all.
Nah, nope, man. I ain't starting that. It was the same way that folks say, "Oh man, y'all about to drag OU," and we see how that went.
Listen, man, y'all got Florida State, then y'all got some cupcake, but then y'all go then you go to you play Wisconsin at home, but then you go to Athens. It's like, and you know what I'm saying? It's just like you might be right. Like Ty got the most experience, so you don't want to start. You don't want to throw somebody into the fire too early. Prior to them being ready. I just like what I saw when I watched him on film, and I don't know how fast he's gonna pick up the offense. None of that stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
That's what I said, man. He's going to be great, but you just have to wait. If
right,
like you really gonna have to just take it, like literally take the job away
yeah,
from him. And I don't. I it folks talk about DJ Ladway, but DJ Ladway wouldn't even be playing as much if Graham Mertz didn't get hurt.
facts,
I think folks
facts.
realize that. And he didn't start the year. He sat down and waited.
Right. I
So
got you.
he was gonna be the guy next year. But
Yeah.
they're like, you don't really see true freshmen start in the SEC. That is super rare.
Not unless it's a necessity, right? Normally, you have somebody that's done waited their turn and got more experience. So, Stephen G says, which one of the new QBs in the SEC do you see being your biggest newcomer of the SEC? So, because you got the Keelan Russell, you got Deuce Knight at Auburn, you got DJ Ladway could be in that. Now that's not a newcomer because he played a little bit. John Mateer, the transfer from OU, I guess technically could be a newcomer since he hasn't been there. Austin Simmons, the guy at Ole Miss that I know you got to see him in that drive against Georgia.
I'm going to be honest. I think that's the guy right there.
But
It's
that
like
dude
a lot.
looked good, didn't he?
Man, what you say? I like when they got man, when they got what's my boy name? Jackson Dart out the game, and then he came in there. I'm like,
Dog, like went down to like he been in there the whole season.
I'm like, wait a minute now.
I
And
told
he can
that
run too. I'm like,
right.
oh. it's a lot of hype around him, man. He's gonna have some receivers
Facts.
out there too, man. So it's gonna be nice for them.
Right. They got a transfer from Louisville, Pierce Clarkson, but I don't think he's gonna challenge Austin. I think Austin got that job hands down.
Oh yeah,
Austin looks smooth out there, man. Now again, when you the backup, it's not as much pressure on you. So we'll see what his mental look like going into the spring. But I'm with you. Stephen G, I think me and Brisky on the same, man. I think Austin Simmons gonna be that guy, man.
yeah, man.
Under Lane Kiffin offense too. Yeah.
He gonna. I can promise you, if he play like how he played that one drive against y'all,
Facts.
we'll be talking first round.
Right. Listen, that's exactly what we said earlier, man. I was like, that was enough to impress me because it wasn't like he was just, all right, it's time for my son to go to bed. But yeah, he impressed me with that one drive because it was during crucial time, like it was the beginning of the game. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like after they got a double digit lead on us, and he just really sliced us up. Like actually, he went down the field easier than Jackson Dart did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
starting off
right, and I was like, bro, I was like, Jackson Dart need to hurry up and come back in. But it didn't matter that day anyway. So,
yeah, man. Everybody had a day, man. That's why I was like, I don't get too high, I don't get too low on college football. You gotta learn how to handle it sometime.
Right. So we talked about some of the other ones that's actually got quarterback competition. Of course, Tennessee doesn't, Texas doesn't, Texas A&M, South Carolina doesn't, Florida doesn't. They all got either starters coming back or the incumbent, like a Arch Manning or something like that. But like Auburn, they got 3 transfers and a talent and a hyped freshman in Deuce Knight. They got Jackson Arnold from OU, they got Tanner Bailey from South Carolina, and they got Ashton Daniels from Stanford. Now
they got somebody from South Carolina.
Yeah, Tanner Bailey was like a 4-star coming out. The problem was, I think at the time the OC they wanted to run like he's not mobile, but he can throw that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't mobile, so he couldn't beat out any of the other guys that they had. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, he's a redshirt junior. Jackson Arnold's a junior, true junior, and Ashton Daniels, the transfer from Stanford, redshirt senior. They all running out of eligibility, dog.
Oh yeah, man. They a very interesting group, especially with Jackson on them. I think I heard enough from like Jason and Jay and all them. Just see, man, is he going to be accurate?
Yeah, I think he had some talent. What I was saying is he didn't have no quarterback coach when he was in OU, and I'm not saying that's all the issue is, but I think he got some talent, man. I think it's his job to be honest with you. Out of the 3, I think Ashton Daniels can spin the ball, but I want to see what he looked like with the SEC speed around him because he played at Stanford, and we know Pac-12 ain't got that same. It's adjustment throwing to receivers that run a little bit faster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then especially I think this is his last year eligibility too. So
Yeah,
I think he came in there so confident that, oh, this is my job.
and
But
then Arnold hit that portal.
yeah, so we're gonna really see, man. I really want to see how this spring going to go because I know they still having a day on the same day as ours. So
Yeah, what day y'all game on? The 19th or the 12th? The 12th. So I looked, and I think it's like 8 or 10 SEC games on the same day, or at least we found out some people canceled theirs. Texas canceled theirs. Southern Cal canceled theirs. Who else they told me? Kentucky canceled theirs. Ohio State canceled theirs. I told them, I'll tell you one place ain't gonna get canceled. Kirby Smart having a spring game. It's like now we playing football, right? If you want to leave, they trying to stop people from poaching their talent. If a guy gonna leave, he gonna leave.
I think I became numb to it when Coach Saban retired, and we had that 30-day window of guys just leaving, and some of those guys didn't make any sense. It made 0 sense to me why they was leaving, and so I started to get numb to it. Just like, bro, either you want to be here or you don't.
Right.
I don't care. Like, do you want to be here or not?
And I think I think that's how Kirby Smart look at it. Like he wants everybody to stay, but if you don't want to be here, man, I
Yeah,
can't hide you from everybody. You gonna leave, you're gonna leave. Now the spring portal window comes up at the end of April, but this is supposed to be the last spring portal window, supposedly. So we'll see about that.
yeah, man. They gonna
Um,
put some bylaws to this, man, and that's
what's it?
once they
Yeah,
once they get everything in order. That's why I say I think the kids are just taking advantage of it right now. But once
yeah,
it can get back in order, I'm telling you, they coaches are not gonna be so easy. Like, oh no, you want to be treated like a professional, you're gonna have to do this. On top
right.
of that, school too. So,
Facts, facts,
so
big facts, man.
good luck.
So we did talk about this. Stephen G brought this up. He said almost like a lot of teams, if not all the teams in the SEC, got O line questions. And we talked. The reason why we brought it up was because this video about quarterbacks. But if you ain't got no good O line, that's where it starts. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What's Alabama O line situation? I honestly don't know how many people y'all lost. I know y'all had a pretty good offensive line last year, but I don't know how many people y'all lost though.
I think we gained everybody back except Tyler Booker. He was
Okay.
expected to go because he was going to be a first round. I'll go too if you
Mm,
projected Parker Bradford. It was major for him to come back, and he's coming back. Of course, Caden Proctor coming back.
that's
Uh,
good.
yeah, everybody's back on the O line. We're just gonna have, I think, I forgot his name. I think his name. I know his last name is Gilberry.
Mm,
Well, he
okay.
coming from Texas A&M. He inside linebacker, so more than likely he'll take Tyler Booker place. He hasn't given up I think out of his 3 years there, he only gave up maybe I think 2 or 3 sacks out of 3 years, or it was just 1 sack. I can't remember what the stat was, but it was definitely good.
Okay. Well, we was
Mm,
trying to think about who would have the most returning, and Bama may lead the way going into the
I
season
believe
as
so,
far
yeah.
as
Mhm.
because I think like Stephen G said, Texas lost 4 offensive linemen, Georgia lost 3. South Carolina didn't lose as many, but they wasn't as good last year. But I mean, that's just what it is now. They did have a good recruiting class that they were waiting on two cycles ago. So now these guys should be sophomores or redshirt freshmen. So we'll see what that looks like. Lenoris is gonna need it, man. Again, he had Rocket Sanders back there as a running back threat that helped a little bit. He's got a guy. I think they got transfer from Tulane. But we'll see if he can be Rocket Sanders. But Stat Guy says, could I see a spring transfer trying to go to Kentucky or Mizzou and win the job in the fall? I can say this. The guys we just talked about, Jackson Arnold, Ashton Daniels, and Tanner Bailey, somebody hitting that spring portal. Like Ashton Daniels got 1 year left. Jackson Arnold got 2 years left. Tanner Bailey got 2 years left. Everybody ain't staying in the room. That's just, that's
Yeah,
just you know what I'm saying. That's just logic. That spring portal window coming after the spring game, one of those guys is hitting the portal, and they could try to. But the thing is, they can't go inside the SEC in the spring portal. So unless there's somebody that leaves from a program outside of the SEC, stat guy, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, Mizzou, but Mizzou is definitely right for the taking because
I don't
they
know about that,
quarterbacks.
Stephen G. I
Yeah, I can't see Jackson Dart redshirt. Listen, you are right. Technically, he could redshirt because he hasn't used one. I don't think these players are that willing to take these red shirts right now. Not with the unlimited transfers, dog.
yeah.
I think again, if he does, if it's clear that he's not winning the job at Auburn after the spring, I think he hit the portal.
And don't let that happen because I have some jokes flying for some Auburn fans.
I know you stay ready.
This is the highest ranked quarterback we have ever had at Auburn University.
Right, right.
And maybe
They
out the transfer portal didn't even make it to the summer. Man, please.
right, right. Like I saw something on Twitter that say they got the highest rated. If you go by high school rankings, I guess they got the highest rated quarterback room or something like that in the SEC. I'm like, yeah, okay. All these guys been in school for 3, 4 years, and they all transferred to. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like they've been
I
putting
I
on.
have I have to, man. Man, you got to get back on the show soon, man, because I got Auburn fans that believe that rankings mean something. I was like, rankings is cool in high school, but once
Facts.
you step foot on that campus, it don't mean nothing. But they talking about this blue chip ratio and all that. Look at
I,
all this. I was like,
I tuned in one night, boy. What's my guy name, man? He your co-host all the
oh,
time, but
Tez.
yeah, no, y'all was going in on Tez, dog. I was like, y'all wasn't gonna let him breathe. Y'all was talking about the blue tip ratio, but I tuned in late, so I didn't catch the beginning of the argument.
Oh
But
my
it was
god.
funny, dog. Y'all was on him.
I was like, man, that's that. I said, if that was the case, man, that's all we'll recruit is nothing but 5 stars, nothing but 5 stars.
Right. It's sometimes with stats, and that's a stat. The blue chip ratio is a stat. Yes. Outside of Clemson 2016 and Michigan 2020, this past year, I think everybody that won the championship had a certain amount of 4 and 5 stars. But the thing is, that's not like set in stone. You feel me? You know what I mean? It's like it's a good thing to look at. Oh, the past 20 years, everybody's had this, but that ain't gonna guarantee you to get there. I can tell
Yeah,
you that.
I can promise you right now. Let them go 6-6 in Auburn this year. We'll see if Hugh Freeze ass still be there in Auburn.
I I'm telling you like that. I'm with you, B. I think. Listen, man. The first time around, Hugh Freeze was good. He was good at Liberty, but he ain't found that magic the second time around. And if he don't get it done in 2025, I think he up out of there. I don't care what his buyout is. I think he out of there.
Oh yeah. I think they were smart not to. I said Auburn would be stupid if they fire him this cycle because of the
Mm-hmm.
big recruiting class that they had coming in.
Right.
If you
Right.
fire him, a lot of those guys are going to decommit and they're going other places. Like, why would I come here if you just fired the head coach? And then I don't know who the head coach gonna be.
Right. Right. So Stephen G says that someone who knows Jackson Arnold, he is great when he has the blue shirt on and zero chance of getting hit. When the live bullets start flying, you say Jackson Arnold. Like I say, I think he has some talent that needs to be honed in. Again, accuracy. Even in that bowl game that he played in coming into 2024 against Arizona, he had some really good moments, but there was a couple of times he waits. I'm gonna tell you one thing he does. He waits a long. He waits for the receiver to be open. Like he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
currently know how to throw a receiver open. So that's
Yep.
something he definitely. SEC ain't giving you big windows like that. A lot of teams playing man. You got to be able to throw that guy open. That's just what it is, man.
Facts.
So we'll see how that play out, man. But now, man, B Sharp, I appreciate you jumping in, man. I just wanted to hop on. I say, man, I've been doing women's SEC women's basketball content. Man, I said I need to do some football content. Spring coming around. I need to
Mm-hmm.
jump back in here and do some content, man. I was like, well, quarterbacks would be a good place to start.
Oh man, there's always that, man. That's why I like. Trust me, I'm about to be heavy on that. I know the combine start tomorrow, so
Right,
definitely
right.
gonna be keeping my eye on that and making some content about that. So yeah, you
All
more than
right,
happy going.
I ain't gonna take all your content for the draft, but who you give me your pick for number one overall?
Abdul Carter is looking that way.
Okay.
It's
You
looking
think
that
he
way right now.
you think he should be the number one overall? So apparently the team was it Tennessee Titans? They looking for an edge. Is it the Titans? If I'm not thinking, I think it's the
Mm-hmm.
Titans.
That because I don't think they in love with the quarterbacks this
Right,
year.
right.
So they're just like, we're gonna get the best player that you can possibly get in the draft, and that's him
Gotcha, gotcha.
because I think his stock is at an all-time high, especially after that Penn State game when he was hurt
Yeah,
and he played like he was 100%. So
facts. Stephen G say he thinks it's gonna be Cam Ward. They got him slated Mel Kiper, that is, as the number 2 pick right now. Stephen G. So if he has a good showing at the combine, I don't know what you could show at the combine that you can't see on film, but I'm not a combine guy, so we'll see
that's
what's
why I
going
say
on.
he's not throwing, Shador is not throwing. But I
Right,
know Abdul Carter is about to have. If Abdul Carter run anything, if he run anywhere near a 4.4,
right.
he's he's first overall. Cause like, okay, he's fast. We know how strong he's gonna be. So
I
yeah,
got
man.
you. Okay. I got
Who
you.
you
Yeah,
got?
man. Just let I'm listen. This is what like you said, Abdul Carter is kind of hard to beat him talking about watching film from last year. Now, if our guy go in and physically he gonna be impressive, Michael Williams, since they looking for an edge. I would love for him to move up the boards. But right now, I think they got him slated in like the 7. I think he's like number 7, 8, something like that. But I would love for him to make his way kind of like Trayvon Walker did his year. He came in as like, the 9th or 10th prospect, and then he moved up the boards with his combine and interviews. But we'll see how that work out. But I'm with you. I think if they're not happy with the quarterbacks, if they wanted a quarterback, I think it would be Cam Ward. But if they don't want a quarterback, I think it's gonna be Abdul Carter. So
Yeah, if they can move down, if they can still get the same player that they want and move down, they'll do it. That's what it's looking like.
Right. I see that. Yeah. Like, and I like Shadur, but I don't think he's the number one pick again. I don't know if any of the quarterbacks for me. I'm saying, yeah, he's a can't miss guy. So I don't know, man. I look at the number one pick a little different too. I'd be trying to trade it for 2 more first round because, like you say, okay, let's say you don't get Abdul Carter, and that's okay. But what if you trade it down and you got Michael Williams and you got Jackson Dart? If you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like that ain't a bad draft right
now.
now.
They're gonna be in that first round too. They don't have him in none of them first rounds.
No, but I think he's gonna be.
Trust me and Tez were down there at the Senior Bowl. We were seeing. I was like, I don't know how they ain't got this man in the first round, but I can tell you he had one of the best Senior Bowls. So if he throws at that combine, he's gonna shine. Remember what I said.
Right. I feel you. All right, B, tell them where they can find you, man, before we get up out of here.
Oh man. Of course, y'all can find me on Twitter at B_Sharp, where it's right there. And at the Sharpshooters Podcast too. I'll drop the link before we get out of there and make it easy on y'all. Cause I know how some people don't like to look for nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, man. It's right there.
Right, you gotta hand it to him, man. Put the link in the chat, dog, and I'll make sure I go back and put it in the video description so they can find it as well, man. Hey, man, we appreciate everybody for getting in. If you was watching on Facebook, YouTube, either one, appreciate y'all getting in. Make sure y'all check out B Sharp at the Sharpshooters Podcast. Listen, man, we're trying to get him over 1,000 subscribers, man. He had like 760, 780, something like that. Y'all make sure y'all go and like and subscribe on the content, man. Putting out good content, good sports content all the time, man. Listen, it's been the Snap Count, man. We all SEC all the time nowadays, man. That's all we doing. So the Snap Count will return soon with spring ball coming up. We appreciate you. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. We up out of here.